Okay, so we are back for the next instalment of our 5K challenge. It's been 5 weeks now, it's Christmas time, and we are now 3 weeks away from my next 5K attempt. So since our last video, unfortunately the UK went into a second lockdown, which meant that all athletics tracks, gyms and swimming pools have been shut. So that obviously threw a big spanner in the works for my 5K challenge. As you will know, I was doing 2 track sessions a week and I was no longer able to do that. So I've had to really improvise with the sessions that I've been doing. I've not been able to do those really fine-tuned workouts where you're running exact distances to pace. I've been running on the street. I found a local loop that's fairly flat. I've been using GPS to guide me. It's not 100% accurate, but it's the best that I can do right now. I've also been doing a lot more sessions on the treadmill, which I'm kind of used to. It's hard to run the same pace on the treadmill as you would on the track. So I've been doing a lot of lactate testing just to see what my lactate levels are. I know from previous sessions what my blood lactate levels are on the track, and I've been then comparing that to running the similar pace on the treadmill. And yeah, as I thought, my blood lactate levels for the same pace on the treadmill are actually quite a bit higher than they would be on the track. But that's okay, because I just used that measurement and lowered the pace slightly and used blood lactate levels as a guide to training sessions that I would normally do on the track. So that's the best that I can do in the situation that I'm in. It's all seemed to work out fine. At the end of the day, training session's a training session. It's the luxury of having the track versus the road. Okay, it's a little bit harder on the road, but I'm still getting the same stimulus and I'm still been able to follow the program the best I possibly can given the circumstances. I wasn't able to do the really fast reps on the treadmill because it doesn't go quick enough. So one of the sessions I was doing each week was 10 400s at really fast pace. So I haven't been able to do that. So unfortunately, I've scrapped that and I've changed it for more of a longer tempo run. So today we are doing about an hour of running, about 10 miles in total, 16 kilometers. That will consist of 4K of warm up, then probably around 8 to 10K of tempo towards threshold effort levels. So looking somewhere between 10K and 10 mile PB pace, and then a cool down. So trying to get my blood lactate levels up to around 4 millimoles, maybe just slightly above, slightly below, but hovering around that threshold limit, and then just staying there for about 30 to 40 minutes. So we're using lactate as a measurement to track progress, and the idea is the fitter and stronger I get, then the faster pace I'll be able to maintain for the same lactate levels. So it's a measure of progress over time, and you should find that you can run quicker or do whatever you're measuring quicker or faster for lower lactate levels as you get fitter. Okay, so I've mentioned it before, but one of the things I've really been noticing with intense run training is it's really quite corrosive on the body. Everything breaks down a hell of a lot more than it would on the bike and in the swim. So that said, nutrition has been one of the most important things that I've been working on during this period. I've been using a new recovery 2-to-1 ratio protein powder with a little bit of carbs in it as well, which I never really used to do. I used to have a protein shake and a banana or something. So I did used to have protein and carbs, but having the two mixed into one, I just find it super easy to slam down after a hard training session. The intense running sessions, I don't normally feel like eating anything afterwards. I normally feel a little bit like my stomach is unsettled and a bit sick, but these protein shakes, there's only 250 millilitres in there, so it's really small, it's easy to digest, and it just gets the job done after a hard workout. Yeah, so unfortunately when Boris Johnson announced that we're going back into a second lockdown, it was all really sudden. It was leaked in the press, and then like within 24 hours we had the Prime Minister come on the TV and tell everyone we're going back into a second lockdown. There was just no warning about it. So it took me by surprise. I was actually doing a cross-country race that day, which I was really motivated towards, and then I heard this news and I was just like, oh, this again. I was really demotivated. I literally just couldn't be bothered to do any training. Had a few too many beers that evening and kind of just felt like throwing in the towel because I was just getting going again. We've only just got back into a swimming routine and then we've been told that we're going to be locked down. But yeah, training wise, I've had real highs and lows, as everyone has had this year. As many as you know, we're not going to Daytona either, so that's also something that's been quite difficult to deal with because I was motivated towards that and then obviously wasn't selected to be part of that race. So I've just had to create my own goals this whole season, and yeah, I'm glad that this year's coming to an end and hopefully next year looks like everything might return to some form of normal. So yeah, it's good to be fit this time of year with lots of motivating things to work towards next year. One of the sessions I've been doing, which I always do anyway, is a long run, but during that long run I've been doing a pick-up towards the end, so almost a long run with a strong finish, and that again is just to try and get myself running a little bit quicker more often. With those lack of track sessions, I need to put in some more speed somewhere, otherwise I'm not going to get used to running at that pace. So yeah, long run, finishing really, really fast. So yeah, during the initial program I had quite a few races, some cross-country races planned, which due to the lockdown I wasn't able to do. So instead of those, fortunately I've got a Zwift set up and there's Zwift races all day, every day. So I've just been doing a couple more Zwift races than I normally would, just to really challenge that lactate threshold VO2 max end. I know it's on the bike, which isn't exactly correlation to run, but it's still sort of the same stimulus cardiovascularly. So when I'm really struggling with the blood lactate levels when it goes through the roof on the run, hopefully I should have a little bit more control of that feeling when we do the second attempt. So one of the sessions that I've taken from the track and transferred to the treadmill is a simple 5x1k efforts with 3-minute recovery between each. I'm running slower on the treadmill than I would on the track, but that's okay because I know that using blood lactate levels I'm putting in the same sort of effort level. It's quite an easy session to just get your head round. The first rep always feels really horrible, especially on the treadmill, but it also feels quite hard on the track as well. But once you get into 2 and 3 and the 4th rep as well, you always seem to feel like you can up the pace a little bit. So my advice for this session would be start off maybe a little bit slower and then build throughout. So for me, I would run at my current 5K PB pace and aim for that as my first rep. And then by the end of the 5 reps, I'm at or above my target 5K pace. So fortunately, tracks have just reopened, so really keen to get down to the track and spend the last 3 weeks preparing for the next 5K attempt. Hopefully all the work I've been doing during this second lockdown hasn't had too much of an impact on my speed. If anything, it should have gone forward, but I'll get that chance to validate that when I go back to the track this week. Thanks very much for watching this 3rd installment of my 5K PR attempt. My next video will be the actual 2nd attempt in about 2 to 3 weeks time, so stay tuned for that, and thanks very much for watching.